What Would Louise Say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Hello, hello, hello. God's glorious day, afternoon, and good evening, my beloveds. I'm your host, Reverend Martine Bernard, and this is the wonderful show, What Would Louise Say? I'm so excited to be with you today. We have a wonderful guest. We have a guest who is here with us from Ireland. So welcome, welcome, welcome. For 40 years, Eileen Clair has been guiding people, from community members to leaders in business, sports, the arts, and politics, to heal, grow, and reconnect with themselves. She is a Heal Your Life teacher and coach trainer for Ireland and the UK, and has mentored people from all over the world to bring Louise Hay's philosophy into their communities, into their hearts, into their lives. So please join me in welcoming Eileen Clair. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you, Reverend Martine. It's wonderful to be here.
Oh, it's such a joy to have you streaming from Ireland. As you mentioned earlier, isn't technology amazing?
Amazing when you think of all the people that left Ireland to go to the United States and never again had contact with home. It's so wonderful to be able to pop on and speak and share and know that our lives are interconnecting on so many levels. It's wonderful.
They are interwoven. So Eileen, oh my gosh, to be the teacher, coach, trainer for Ireland and the UK, the United Kingdom. How amazing is that? That's tremendous. How did you discover Louise's work?
Louise's work has been part of my soul, I think, for as long as I can remember. But my journey probably started when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I'm one of these people that from the moment that I can remember, I always saw auras around people. So it was natural for me to see energy as part of life and life as part of energy. And nobody really understood it except my nana. So my mum passed away when I was 4, and my nana was the person that was central in my life. And when I was in my teenage years, she passed away, and I felt completely lost because people didn't discuss healing and energy or anything. And, you know, I was very, very much against the church teachings. And so I started looking outside of what would have been my supportive religion. And I found books to be the answer. You know, we didn't have live streaming anything. Yeah. So, yes. And so I discovered Louise, and it was life-saving for me. I mean, from the moment that I first read her book, the first book that I read was Heal Your Body. Because,
Okay. So, that is a different slant, because many of us who discovered Louise Hay's work discovered her through the Heal Your Life, You Can Heal Your Life book. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about finding the book and its impact on you? Was there a specific health opportunity, or was it just a book that was there? It was the beginning of your path. Can you talk about that a little bit?
And it's very, very much, I think, the journey of learning to let go, because I was in my mid-20s when my dad passed away, and he had got a cancer diagnosis, and he actually passed away on my wedding day, which is quite traumatic, but passed away in a manner that has always allowed me to celebrate my wedding day and celebrate his life. And it really brought me on the journey of there is more to life than being worried about dying or getting sick or being ill. And that's what Louise's book taught me. I read it and I thought, what she's really saying is that if there is something wrong with you, and if you're willing to work at all levels, one of the things to look at is your thought pattern and what can you change. And if by changing that, there's the possibility that you'll change the dynamics within your body that will allow healing in. And it just made perfect sense to me, because up until then it was all about the physical body,
That's right.
or your religious beliefs, where here was somebody that was saying, actually there are other things, there are emotions, there are feelings that can block that flow of energy through your body. And I started exploring it. And
Oh,
then I discovered how I can do it. In those days, the tapes, there were, yes. And so every chance I got, I was playing that tape. I played it and played it and played it. And it was just amazing. I had some incredible experiences with her, incredible, really. But her work was so accessible. It was,
isn't it? It's so accessible. It's so simple. It's so relatable. It's
yeah.
so relatable. The average, any person can understand it, because I like to say that we intuitively know that we are co creators with the infinite, with God, the God of your understanding. We know that we make an impact on our lives. The Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue. So we also know that speaking, what we speak, can have a positive influence, a neutral influence, or a negative influence. I was recently just reading Catherine Ponder, and she was saying that your thoughts can create good, or they can create negative appearances. They can create darkness in your life. And Louise tapped into that. So I'm always amazed. I call you a forerunner, an innovator. You were ahead of your time, because there were so many of us as teens and 20-year-olds who discovered Louise Hay through reading. That books were the pathway to inner liberation. So I can't imagine, as a young person, losing your mom, losing your nana, and then on your wedding day, losing your dad, and that feeling of maybe feeling parentless in the universe. And then the vacuum was opened, and spirit filled it with Louise as a surrogate mother figure, the divine expressing as mother for you through this teaching. How wonderful. And you were given the key to liberation in this life, that we're not our circumstances, that we're not our bodies, that we are transcendent spiritual beings having a human experience. And that allowed you, Eileen, I believe, to awaken. And then you became a spiritual teacher, healer, medium, guide for so many others. Oh, that is so exciting.
And I find that the possibility for learning is there from all experiences in life. And sometimes we can focus on the experiences that are really challenging for us while we're here physically, and know that we're going to learn from those. But I do think that it's also important to know that we can learn from the happiest moments in our lives.
Yeah.
Because one of the things very often that we need to relearn is the ability to feel joy without guilt.
Oh my gosh, yes. We're saying, many of us in the States are saying that joy is a form of spiritual activism in these days, when there's so much stress and there's so many challenges happening everywhere on the planet. That happiness and joy is a form of radical activism. So thank you for reminding us of that. So when did you decide, Eileen, to become a teacher coach, to go to either the 2-day workshop or the training? Can you talk about that, especially
I
in the day?
definitely can, and I was very fortunate in a lot of the ways of my journey. But one of the biggest things for me having an impact on why would I want to share Louise's work with others was when one of my children was born and was very unwell. And I was really trying to come to terms with the idea that I couldn't heal this person, I couldn't fix this little child. And I was listening to Louise's work and doing my affirmations and everything. And then one day I was listening to her tape on forgiveness, and she spoke about forgiving people because they're not as we expect them to be. And I thought that's really, really, really powerful. And I started me on a deep inner journey of recognizing that I had expectations of everybody in my life, including my children. I expected them to be as I would like them to be. And I started this forgiveness of forgiving people for not being who I really wanted them to be and setting them free to be who they're meant to be.
Oh my
And
goodness.
in that moment, I could see healing coming in, physical healing, as well as a spiritual ease coming in to my life, but also to my child. And thankfully, full miraculous recovery, which is just absolutely wonderful. And so when you feel that and see it happening right in front of you, you realize this is much, much bigger than me. This is something that people need to hear. And I was privileged to have started a little healing centre in rural West Clare in Ireland, where there was very, very little of anything outside of the beliefs of the church and medicine as generally practiced. But my passion for the work, because of my own experience, meant that I was able to speak to people as an ordinary person, as a person who was trying to rear my own family in a rural setting. And I thought people need much more than this. They need Louise. They need to hear her word in a way that it brings meaning to them. And so I started searching for somebody who would come and run workshops here at my centre. I built a workshop room and I still could not find anybody. And I had one client who was very influential, from a very influential American family. And I would show her the workshop room and I would say, the work of Louise. And she said, well, my family know Louise. So would you like me to arrange? And Louise was I had her on a pedestal, And so often when you meet the people that you have on a pedestal, they have feet of clay. And I thought, if Louise isn't as I believe her to be, I don't want to meet her. I just cannot leave her.
Oh my gosh, I can
So guess what I did? I came up with every excuse under the sun and did not go to the meeting. And I bless Caroline so many times. She went and said to Louise, there's this wonderful person in Ireland who would like to have your workshops in her centre. And Louise basically said, if Eileen wants to do this, tell her to get off her butt and do it herself.
Wow.
That's what I did.
Phenomenal. Oh
It's
my
incredible.
goodness. Eileen, this hard is, the book is, I have my blurred stuff on, but this book was right in front of me here. Freedom from Forgiveness. There are no coincidences. That
No.
just mentioning forgiveness, because forgiveness, my beloveds, is the cornerstone of Louise's work. Many times Louise would say it's a two-tiered approach. It's either a deservability issue, we don't feel worthy, we don't feel that we're deserving, or it's a forgiveness issue, that subconsciously there's someone or even yourself or a situation, your body, the body of your affairs, an experience that you have not forgiven. And what is so powerful is that I was reading a few years ago in Dr. Joseph Murphy's work, who is an oldie but goodie, but influenced Louise, because I got his books through Hay House as well. She mentions the consciousness of the parent, of a mother being so influential on our child. And as the mother heals her consciousness, and the thought forms around her, because we actually have a thought body that extends outside of our physical body, and that is a thought atmosphere. The mother's consciousness can impact her child. So, as a mother begins to heal her consciousness and to see and know health for herself and her child, the outer circumstances change and the child heals. Because at that time, as the child is developing developmentally, the child does not have a conscious mind as of yet. The baby is just living from a subconscious mind. The conscious mind, scientists say, have not developed. I think it's by the age of 5 or 4. So that's why children believe in their imaginary playmates. I believe they're seeing angelic beings, but we're usually thought, well, it's imaginary because they are living from their subconscious mind. So it is up to the parent to change their conscious beliefs, thereby creating a beautiful environment for the child, bringing forth growth and healing. Bravo, Eileen, because that's amazing that you recognized that you needed to do that deep inner work of forgiveness in order to change your circumstances and the outcomes for your child. That is a powerful testimony.
Yes.
Powerful testimony.
And I love the book is there because, I thought, what will I speak about today? And there's so many aspects of Louise's work that we can speak about. And forgiveness kept coming in, just speak about forgiveness. Forgiveness is such a real part of what Louise says. It's the pathway to your heart. It opens your heart. And to me, and I have done this work with people who have found themselves in a situation after giving birth where the baby has challenges, things are not as they would like them to be. And, if you can bring them to the space of start the forgiveness of yourself on this journey, forgiveness of the child, there is no blame. There is simply forgiveness and deep, deep love. And it brings such healing on so many levels. It's amazing.
So that is so wonderful. Eileen, I have to ask the question because there are many of my viewers and the viewers everywhere. We all can feel so challenged around the practice of forgiveness. What is forgiveness? What happens if there's something that has been so horrific that someone just has a very, very hard time forgiving? What would Louise say, in your opinion? How do you begin?
In my opinions, forgiveness is often very, very much linked to, our lack of forgiveness is very much linked to guilt. Because no matter what happens to us, no matter how much we tell ourselves that other people or life circumstances, there is a little question in us that often says, like, why did I allow this to happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And so to me, forgiveness is always starting with, I forgive myself for not being the person I expect myself to be. And I set myself free to be who I am exactly meant to be.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. You're speaking to my heart because it's so easy, beloveds. I know that you experience this too, that as we move forward on our spiritual and self-awareness path and the inner work that we do, every once in a while I found myself, especially when I'm driving, because when I'm driving long distances, I get into my thinking, beloveds, and I found myself criticizing myself, looking at the past, blaming myself, and I'm surprised that that came up. But we're always receiving the uh, the focus. We're always being given the place where we need to spiritually focus again. And forgiveness work is like peeling an onion. It just never stops. There's always another layer. And so I love Louise's statement of, I am willing to forgive. I am willing to forgive myself, the past experiences, all those whom I've harmed, and all those who have harmed me. I am willing to forgive and set myself free. And she always says that willingness. I love your Louise heart right behind you. The willingness opens the heart to you. You open your heart to your inner sanctuary, that spiritual place within where all of that love can come and shower you with peace and inner forgiveness. Oh, thank you so much, Eileen, for that reminder.
Yes, I think it was lovely. I was listening to your recent interview with David Alt, which was absolutely fabulous. What an amazing man.
What an amazing.
And
Yeah.
he spoke about Louise saying to him, "Why would you want to hide any part of yourself from the person that you love?" And I always feel that what she's saying to us very clearly is, why would you hide parts of yourself from you? And the pathway to you discovering what's the real you is to start acknowledging that you can forgive yourself and you can set yourself free. I set myself free.
Mm.
And I am willing, I agree with you, they are the most powerful words. I am willing to begin. I often find with people in the process of forgiveness, I start with, I am willing to begin to think about beginning to forgive. It
Oh,
can be a long journey, and I see it as little links. And so I'm willing to begin to think about forgiveness. I am willing to begin to forgive. I am willing to forgive.
oh, that's beautiful. I'm willing to begin to think about forgiveness because sometimes there's that part of us that goes, I'm not even going to consider how could I, you know?
I think particularly, when we're working in the areas of, I find parents of children who have been abused, even people themselves who have been subject to abuse, but I think more so the parents can carry such guilt, and they will say, I could never forgive myself from that, and I say that's an affirmation. Let's change the affirmation, and the affirmations to me are simply the pathway to the inner journey that we need to begin.
Exactly. So please tell me, how did your journey as master trainer of the UK, of Ireland, and teacher coach for Heal Your Life begin? So you've read the book, you're having mystical experiences, you know that it's a path for you. How did it begin? How did the door open?
And this is where we have to constantly be deeply grateful to Patricia Crane for
Oh, yes.
continuing this work and for
Oh,
spreading it. Oh, I mean,
globally,
it's
nonstop,
global. Yeah.
with passion and mastery. Dr.
And
Patricia, we're
yes.
shouting you out. You might be watching right now. So we're sending you hearts and love. We
Yeah.
love you.
And with such conviction she presented the training. So I discovered that there was a training in the UK, and I was one of 40 people taking it that year. And I remember sitting looking at the group of people thinking, oh my goodness, everybody here has so much more experience than me. And then you realize, no, they don't. We're all the same. We're all on this journey of wanting to learn, different levels of learning. And, I've met people on that training, and it was many years ago. And I'm still in contact with some of them, and there's still that feeling of, absolute connection. And it was very interesting, Reverend Martine. I'm sure you probably found the same thing because I know you've taken the training recently. Um, there was a lady on that training who was a grief counselor, something I had never considered, and she was placed there, and we connected so beautifully in the first day. And for 7 days, she would just come and give me a hug and say, it's okay, you can let it go. And that was, the beginning of letting go of grief that I didn't even realize that I had.
As a young girl, to have found your way, that's when we really know that there's a creator, that our lives are guided. That no matter where, the Bible also says, and my beloveds, we interpret the Bible metaphysically, but it says, your mother and father may abandon you, but I never abandon you. The infinite is just waiting for us to turn to it with an open heart, and the path appears. And look at that, all of that loss at such a young age, and then finding Louise, and there was your own personal grief counselor in the training. That's how the universe works.
It is wonderful. And then, the training, I came back from the training after the week, and I knew I had changed completely. And I would walk down the street, and people would meet me and they would say, what have you done? And so I started offering workshops, And I was very much of the belief, okay, why do we have to go to the UK to do this training? Why can't we have it in Ireland? So I messaged Patricia and I really plagued her. Why won't we have? And she said graciously, Eileen, if you would like me to come to Ireland, organise a group. And I did. And
Oh,
she did. And Rick came with her. And
yes. That was the start. Oh my goodness. How exciting. How
yeah.
wonderful. We are
And
going
again, it's the trust of Patricia, isn't it? Her trust in moving with this and allowing it to grow and allowing us to express it in our manner. Yeah, it's wonderful, the work she does.
living these principles, being a shining example of passion and enthusiasm, Dr. Patricia and Rick Nichols, my beloveds, who we've had on and who comes on when I'm off needing to do something else. We just adore them. And we are so grateful for our interview with Master Teacher. She's very modest, Master Teacher Eileen Clair. We're just taking a quick break and we will be back and continue this fabulous interview. I'm Reverend Martine Bernard, and this is What Would Louise Say on the New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
We are back. Hello, beloveds. We are back. I'm Reverend Martine Bernard, and we are interviewing Master Teacher Eileen Clair, who is based in Ireland and in charge of all of the trainings in Ireland and the UK. How exciting! This is wonderful by means of the power of technology. So we're very grateful. Eileen, I wanted to ask you, after you did the training, you then opened a holistic healing center. Can you tell me about what inspired you and how long you had been doing this and if you're still doing this? Because that's phenomenal. So you
It
went
is.
from organizing the trainings with Patricia. Dr. Patricia came to Ireland and did one of your trainings. So how did how did it mushroom? How did it grow?
I opened the center, oh gosh, it must be definitely 33, 34 years ago here in rural west of Ireland. My idea was I believed that the physical body, the thoughts that you were thinking, and your emotions and your spirituality all deserved equal attention. And I found that it was very divided. You went one place for one thing, one place for another. It was also something that wasn't offered to people as being an ordinary part of life. And so I had a passion for saying, I'm a very ordinary person, and it is possible to connect with people at this level. So I wanted something that was accessible to families, as a family person myself, and to families in rural areas rather than to people who just studied, who perhaps had a spiritual side to them that was stronger and pulled them in that direction. I wanted to be part of family life, and that was my intention. And a number of years ago, I actually had the great-great-grandchild of one of my first practitioner, people coming here, one of my first clients. And I thought that to me was the universe saying, Eileen, you've done it. This has been acceptable to families and absolutely wonderful. And as part of that journey, Louise's work came in and I got the message, get up and do this work if you want to do it. And Patricia graciously came to Ireland. So I ran workshops continuously from my centre myself. But then I decided that it deserved to be much, much bigger than me. And so I opened up my workshop room to any of the healer life teachers that would like to run workshops here, evening sessions. We had the most wonderful people coming in and offering all sorts of support. And so a community built. And I do think that the growth of this work is on community.
Yes, it is.
It
My
is.
gosh, that is unprecedented. A community that large that you were able to be the bedrock, the center of this larger community, and teachers could come. Oh my gosh, that is powerful, powerful manifestation from your passion. Have you continued with that work?
Yes, yes. So one of my sons, actually my daughter went to Patricia and trained with her in the UK, but one of my sons took the training with me. And, he ran many workshops here at the centre. And there's something very, very special about seeing the next generation, knowing that this was a message that was within the family and that it has been meaningful and a lived experience. Because I always say, Louise, his work is not something that I do, it is something that I live.
Oh, it is. It is a way of life.
It is a way of life.
Yeah. It's a way of life and then becomes a way of being, because the call is to embody the principles. And that is wonderful. So, you've actually created a legacy in your clients, friends, and children, your own son, your daughters, people just being so revolutionized by your passion, by your example. That is a sign of mastery. That is phenomenal. That is embodiment. And that is just so tremendous to hear. Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's wonderful because you meet the most amazing people to work with. And then when it moves on to offering the trainings to other, which I was always so deeply passionate about. And Patricia and Rick came to Ireland for 2 trainings and I assisted, and then I went to the UK, and then Patricia said, if you would like to do these trainings, we will certify you to do them. And that was such a gift. It was such a magic day, the first training here in Ireland. And I don't think you ever forget those moments. Yeah. And then the community of people who were trained and wanted to share this work and share the same passion just grew and grew. And a number of years ago, pre-COVID, I think it was 2020, Patricia felt that she had her work done in the UK, and she asked me would I take over the training in the UK. Wow. And that was just fantastic, because the UK was the starting point for Louise and the starting point for Patricia. So I always feel it's a very precious chalice to be given.
Yes. Very much so. Eileen, what do you think it is about? I don't know if it's the consciousness, if it's the culture that has made the UK so open, the United Kingdom so open to Louise's work and philosophy. Because from what Dr. Patricia has also told me, it's mushroomed quite a bit in the UK. It's very, very popular. How many people would you say you've trained? How many people have attended? It just seems as though it's so popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and pre-COVID, it was absolutely, amazing there. There were groups of 40. Then COVID hit, and everything that, meant that you had to get together as a group stopped. And I found a lot of the trainings went online. And I'm always deeply grateful to Patricia that we did not move this training online, because it brings a depth to it and a spirituality. And it's the group connection. And
this is a 2-day training we're talking about.
We're talking the 7-day training for people who would like to become workshop leaders. Yes. But very often I find people come on it who also want to just deepen their own awareness, and who will probably never run a workshop, or think that they won't.
Yes.
I'm very fortunate that I have a Heal Your Life teacher and coach, Sheila O'Neill, who now walks beside me on this journey and does all the organization in the background. And she did the teacher training with Patricia with the intention of, it was for her own personal development. She had never any intention of running a workshop. She simply found herself at a stage of life where everything had fallen apart. And she felt Louise's words were the words that gave her the meaning or a sense of why this might have happened. And she wanted to explore it more deeply, went to the training, then came to Ireland and did the further week coach training with me. And at the end of it, said, I want to continue this work, and came to the center and did some work, and it grew and grew and grew. And now, literally, she is my right-hand woman. And that was somebody who thought she was doing the training for her own personal needs. So we get drawn to it for all the right reasons.
Yes.
And the journey is exactly as it's meant to be.
Yes.
And, initially in the UK, we had the teacher training for a week, 7 days, and then there was a further 6 days if you wanted to become a Heal Your Life coach. And now we have combined the two, and it's absolute magic. So we get people together for 10 days. We do some preparatory work beforehand. We do a lot of support work afterwards. And this training is great because it's not just about getting a qualification. It's about bringing people on a journey, linking them in with a community that is worldwide, and saying, there is a different way of looking at things.
Yes.
And we invite you on this journey with us.
Yes.
And you form connections, and whether you use this work in a formal setting, as in running workshops, or officially setting yourself up as a life coach, or whether you use it in your daily life, you cannot take the training and not change. It brings change.
It brings change. And shout out to my class, my Heal Your Life training class, my Sisters of October 2024. I'm sending you all love because I'm connected to sister friends and Heal Your Life master teachers from all over the world, from India, Saudi Arabia, the UK, Hilly, who's also in the UK. Shout out to all my beloved sisters who are walking this path with me. Thank you, Dr. Patricia and Rick Nichols. Thank you. I am it's an honor to have you on. There's some dates here, beloveds. We have trainings. Eileen has trainings in Scotland, October, and October in Ireland, January of 2026. England, I think in England in July of 2026, I'm assuming. Yes.
Yes.
So join those trainings, come. This is taking the philosophy. If you're inspired by You Can Heal Your Life, the book, you will be transformed by attending either the 2-day or the 7 or 10-day training to become a teacher and coach. It is life-changing. And as Eileen has said, whether you apply this as a business or as a coach and teacher, or you apply it to your life, you are changed. And if you'd like to attend any of these workshops, if anything interests you, you go to eileenclair.com. You can get more information there. Eileen, my next question is about, I can't imagine how many people you have helped, that you have awakened to this philosophy and Louise Hay world's view. Are there any testimonies? Are there any experiences with clients, not revealing, but that have just blown you away, testimonies through this work?
Oh, honestly, Reverend Martine, there are so many. And I was actually speaking with a family member recently that, I've seen so many people. So for a great part of my life, I worked 3 days in the clinic, working one-to-one with people. And then I would run workshops and do coaching and do my trainings and all sorts of things. So it literally consumed my life for a long number of years. And, you meet people, very often people at the level where they are sad and broken and wondering what it's all about. And when you can say to them, there's more to life than just what's happening in this moment. And that's the magic of Louise's mirror work, isn't it? When you start saying, my big thing is that so many people look at themselves in life. And when we look at ourselves, we're extremely critical. And when we do mirror work, I say, see yourself. Stop looking and see. And when you begin to see yourself, and one of the things I love to do, and it's one of the simplest things that people come back to me again and say, this was magic for me. One of the things I love to do is I say, pick up the mirror and wink at yourself and say hello.
Oh,
Smile, aren't you? Yeah. And yeah. And to me, it never matters whether the healing is, a physical healing where they've had some disease or disorder for years and suddenly they find that they're not ill anymore. Or whether it is a healing of an emotion where they've managed to let go of a deep feeling of resentment, or letting go of sadness, or whether it's the healing from the spiritual point of view, that hope and trust and faith come back in. All, I think, are of equal importance. But what I love is when I see the dreaming coming back in, the joy. If we can dream, anything is possible.
that's right.
And it's, yeah. And one of the biggest privileges is being able to work with young people. And I find young people have incredible creative minds, but we are training them to create fear in their minds.
Yes,
We're training them to create small thinking, narrow thinking. This is success, this is failure. You need to focus on this, and then you will get, instead of, saying the possibilities are endless. You can pull this in today and you can pull that in tomorrow. And that's all that's needed.
That's right. I just remember discovering Louise's work at 19. And what is the statement? Everywhere I go, love. I meet love wherever I go when I'm walking through the streets. And because of reading You Can Heal Your Life, I would affirm in my 20s, I meet loving people wherever I go, and I make 4 friends a day. And I literally have grown community all over the city and all over the world because I began to declare that I was safe. As a young girl, I just felt so unsafe. I was worried. I was really questioning. I was born in Haiti. Am I a victim? And am I a victim of circumstances? What does it mean to be Black in this world? And I was absorbing a lot of the negativity, and it caused great anxiety for my heart. So when I discovered Louise's work, I was able to declare I'm safe in the universe and everyone loves me. I'm receptive to all of the love in the universe. And I make 4 friends a day. And I literally, beloveds, made friends wherever I go. Because that simple affirmation of knowing that I live in a friendly universe, that's what Louise's loves to say. We live in a friendly universe. Because as a young person, because your heart is so open, because your mind is so free and creative, it can really feel depressing. You say to yourself, the world that the adults have created, oh my gosh, do I want to be in this world? So this work, oh my God, is so important for our youth. So I applaud you, Eileen, for working with them and understanding that mindset. Teaching young people that the creative mind that you have can really impact the outcome if you're projecting a lot of fear, worry, and negativity into your consciousness.
And I think Louise is saying, out of this situation, only good will come, and I am safe. And that's my go-to all the time, no matter what. And when you are working with people at this level, you do hear their deepest secrets, their saddest stories, their deep, deep hurts. And to be able to say in your own head, heart, and soul, out of this situation, only good will come. The path will open, And I often hear myself saying something and I wonder, where did that come from? But it's always what is needed.
Yes.
It's
It's
not always what they want to hear, but it is always what is needed. And that is the magic of following that philosophy that good can come. We are learning, we are growing,
no matter what.
no matter what. Yeah. I brought in a word recently, and I have it always with me as a reminder that these things can happen easily.
Yes.
Easily.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. I actually I need to figure
Yes,
out where that is on Amazon and get,
please.
because that is part of our challenge. We've been taught and programmed that everything is hard, that everything requires hard work. And beloved's part, the cornerstone, one of the cornerstones of Louise's worldview is that easily and effortlessly. It's easy for me to change my thinking. It's easy for me to believe I'm deserving. It is easy for me to be willing to forgive. It is easy for me to change my life for the better. I'm never stuck. I love how Louise says this over and over and over. We are never stuck.
Mhm.
Never stuck. We can easily, one thought at a time, change our lives. Oh my gosh, I need a physical easily that I can hug on those days.
Wonderful, and it's a constant reminder. I bring it to all my trainings, and I'm like, we always have a choice. We can do this the hard way, and we have something to learn from that, if that's the way we wish to do it. But know that we have a choice. We can allow this to happen easily. I easily let go of my pain. I easily let go of the past. I easily bring in forgiveness. And I easily bring in abundance. So many of us have guilt around abundance, but let's let it flow easily to us and through us.
The words of a master teacher, my beloveds, being shared with us today. These are all of the golden nuggets that all of our guests bring. Catch them and keep them close to you, because I needed that today. I needed the reminder that I can manifest an abundant life, a life filled with infinite possibilities, easily and effortlessly. Go out and get your easily sign, your easily words, my beloved. Eileen, we are getting close to the end of our interview, and I have a question for you. At this time on the planet, many people are feeling the energy, the shifts, and the changes, but it can feel like a really challenging time right now. What are three things that you can give our viewers and share with the world that has made a difference for you and that you can offer to viewers on how to navigate this time on the planet?
I think that is such a huge question, Martin, because I even find that I myself am drawn into that whole discussion of how challenging things are and how untrustworthy world leaders can be. And then I'm reminded that we are here for a reason. There's learning, this is part of our journey. And I go back to what I know works, and that is the forgiveness. And I begin the journey of forgiving. I forgive myself for not being able to change what I know needs to change. I
Yes.
forgive those in power for not being the people I expect them to be. And I think if we could all focus on forgiveness. My experience with forgiveness is people either change or they disappear.
Yes. And for some of us, the disappearing is great.
Absolutely. That's very, and for them too, if we let them go with love. Yes. And I think, Louise's thing that if something isn't working, all we need to do is forgive a bit more and love a bit more.
And
And for me, the final thing is to see myself in my life. So to do that moment of saying, you're doing great, Eileen, fair play to you. And I am open and willing to do what is right for me to do in this moment. That is giving me back my power. I think her book, The Power is Within, and that statement tells us the power is always within us to forgive, to heal, to learn, and to live.
that's
But also to have fun.
to have fun. Yes, yes,
Come
yes,
on, let's bring more fun in. Let's
yes. Because
joy. Yes.
Growth is fun. It reminds me of her affirmation. I forgive and I set myself free. I forgive and I set myself free. I forgive and I set myself free. What Eileen is reminding us today, beloveds, is that when we forgive, we are setting ourselves free to a wonderful, joyous, and fun life. We are setting ourselves free in consciousness. And by right of consciousness, when you have released the past and you're on the precipice of the new, only good will come. I think it's so, I remember Louise in her movie towards the end saying, I don't do specific affirmations anymore. I just know that it will all be good. I expect the good, and I know that only good will come. That was her affirmation. She was like, I don't have to change this, and all the different categories. I can just expect more joy, more good, more fun through forgiveness. Eileen, oh my goodness, it's been wonderful. It's been tremendous having you on. We will definitely see you again. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love this connection. You know, as an Irish person, I definitely feel that connection flowing between us. I just love that the world allows us to connect so easily now. And I'm grateful for technology for that.
Yes.
But grateful for you for inviting me and for taking the time to interview me here today. And thank you. And thanks to your audience for listening.
Oh my goodness. I want to thank you for being such a leader of Louise's philosophy in the world, in the UK, in Ireland. Thank you for answering the call, and thank you for all of the hearts and minds that you have changed. We are committed to keeping Louise's legacy alive. Thank you, my beloved Eileen. We will have you back on. I want to have a town hall with Louise Hay trainers, teachers, and coaches, and we can talk about many different things. We'll do that in a few months. But thank you, my beloveds. Thank you, Eileen. This is Reverend Martine Bernard, and this is What Would Louise Hay Say? What would Louise say on the New Thought Media Network? Thank you so much.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.